Good afternoon. Welcome to my garden, Lilac Hill. I want to share with you the apple tree today because there has been a lot of bear activity. The other night it was a mother bear and two cubs, and I came out yesterday and cleaned off all of their droppings. I had 5 piles to do yesterday, and today I see I have 3 more piles. So they've been back, and look at all the leaf on the ground. So as long as I don't break the tree branches, but I do worry about this tree. She's quite old. But I guess it's just had years of bear activity in it. And I noticed from the other side that there's a lot of apples on one side. So I think I'll have to get Terry in the tall ladder and we'll go up there and bring down some more apples. And you can see by the bark of the apple tree, there's got some fresh scratches. This poor old tree. You've seen a lot of bear activity. It's all new with the brighter coloring. Some of these bears over the years have been quite big. Look how deep that one is. Yeah, it's all the way down the trunk where the bear climbs up and goes up there and pigs out on apples. So hopefully this tree doesn't have, I always think these branches look so fragile, but Terry seems to think it's tougher than it looks. But I think I need to get up there now and get some of those down. Part of the fall process of having a garden, dealing with apples. I don't want to step in any bear poo or fall over an apple. So this area here is in desperate need of a redo. The euphorbia needs to be pruned back now and just really weeded. And I'm going to remove those small rocks. I don't like them. I don't need the rocks and the edging. I'm going to redo the shape of the edging. It's just not right. And then make this garden just needs to look nicer. It's been a bit neglected. It's when it's hot in the summer, this ground can be quite hard to dig. But again, this has been turned by the excavator. So once I get going on it with some rain, it should be quite a lot easier to really just make this over. I love the barberry in here. That looks really nice. Daylilies have all been cut back. Foxglove just grew by themselves, which is fine by me. There's ferns in here. 9 bark in the background there. Starting to just bloom white. And the black-eyed Susan, always a good doer. Euphorbia. And then this is the heuchera melting fire. And there's another heuchera sachet fern, hardy heart fern, and my big onyx odyssey hellebore. I've had that plant a long time. And some more seedlings of foxglove back there. The rhododendron had a great year. I'm just going to back up a bit here. Big plant. And it's got lots of new growth, and it's dropping yellow leaves, which is normal. It just sheds leaves, and the tips of these buds or stalks all have the buds on them, so that's nice. And look at the amount of growth this year. Some of the places it's between 6 and 8 inches of new growth on the rhododendron. It's not as round as it was when we moved in 6 years ago. It's looking a lot more, the shape isn't as domed as it was. But I don't prune this plant. I just don't. I like to just let her do her natural thing. But you can see where the edging now is it's just wrong. It looks terrible. It goes right underneath the rhododendron, so this shape all needs to come out and be redone. Maybe go in here and then do some plants in pots, because this ground is really hard. And yeah, so this is the before and there will definitely be a much improved after for next year. I'm always looking to do new things and new projects. This bed here I'm still quite happy with. I like the colors that are in here. The fall aster bloom a kind of a creamy white yellow. So they're on their way to blooming. The raw jersey will be moved. Not quite the right spot for it. I'm going to find the new home for it. There is the sweet box, which blooms and gives scent in January, which is a good plant. And the skimmia, I think the skimmia could be moved. It's a little underused or underappreciated, I think, back there. So maybe the skimmia could be something that could come forward and go into that new front remake area. Okay, and the chicken run garden got cleaned up. So definitely cleaned up. And I did I'm trying this sort of bump out idea with my hydrangeas. Hopefully the hydrangeas will enjoy that spot. Should be quite a bit of water coming off the grass because this is sloping downhill. And eventually there will be more of this greenery removed. And there's deer footprints in there. They seem to beeline for the Waterton mock orange that's in here. And I have a new wine. I think it's called Wine Shine Wygelia from the city. And I've got the Van Houtai in here. Renaissance. I put some burgundy out front. And I've still got my two lilacs, of course. So kind of the opening. But you can see the deer. They just beeline right for these shrubs. So yeah, eventually we'll have fencing. The ligularia has improved so much since I caught a bunch of slugs in the slug traps with beer. And yeah, because it was just being eaten by slugs. And sometimes you just got to take matters into hand and say, okay, enough's enough, and buy some good, well, not really good, cheap beer, and have the slugs go into the beer, and that's the end of that. Hillside still looks good, lots of fall color. I've got asters on the hillside, and an echinopsis is still blooming. So it looks good. I think it looks really fall and pretty, and things are changing, but that's okay. The beautyberry looks fantastic up on the hill. And it's almost time to start my winterizing. Well, it is time to start my winterizing. And winterizing to me is putting pots away. And then I will be getting a load of bark mulch for the entire garden at the end of October. Get 3 yards of bark mulch, and then I spend about a week spreading the bark mulch under all the plants. Oh, and now that the bean is dying back, I can see my heather shrubs are still okay, which is good because they were really covered in vines for the whole summer. Oh, and this little lilac has some buds on it. That's always nice to see. Yeah, so I was happy with my sort of novelty morning glory. It did make it all the way to the deck, so that was fun. I'll do that again. Not the scarlet runner. I'll do that maybe up one of the stems of the old hazelnut tree, but the morning glory for sure. And the beautyberry, I'm just going to zoom in on that. Gorgeous color. When I first put this garden in, that beautyberry was the end point, and then from here down it was just rocks and hillside. So this is the expansion that has occurred in the last probably 2 years, and I'm very happy with it. I'm not a landscape designer. I have no landscape training. I just sort of try to work with the land and go with the flow. And move plants around, try to get the right plant in the right place, and watch for those sales. I like a good bargain. These euphorbia have done very well this year. The one in the middle is called Bonfire, and then that oranger, greener one, or not totally orange, the lime and green one, is called Ascot Rainbow. And look at this one, Tasmanian tiger, with its one green tip. Plants are so funny. Yeah, I think the colors pick up really nicely with the chameleon plant. Everything has survived being tromped on with the build of the glass house. The glass house got its new gutters on the end now, and that's going to drain down the hill to the willow, which helps the willow because willows like a lot of water. And of course, pop up Verbena bonariensis, the monk's hood, castor bean. Hopefully I get a flower off of this, but it's hard to say. Getting kind of cold now. Aw, little flower, her little leaf in there. Picks up really nicely with this upright St. John's wort color. And the Joe Pye weed was fun. That's probably going to get really big, but that's okay. There's lots of room there for it to grow as big as it wants, actually. The phlox in the background can now be pruned. The Culver's root, I've left the stalks because there's quite a few spiders in the garden right now. So, oh, and there's a big deer footprint. They've come through. And I did some, I think it's pronounced euonymus. I know there's no R in there. Euonymus for my winter interest. 5 of those, and I'll prune them into maybe little balls. I think they're going to be great. They're very tough plants. They've already put on a bit of growth. Zinnias, more of those for sure next year. This very, very sad azalea was moved out of the woodland area, so I can keep a better eye on it. Yes, I'll go through my path. Come out on this side. Fall aster. This path has worked out really well. Nothing says fall like aster. And the echinopsis still has a bit of bloom. These are going to get, this echinopsis is going to get a section taken out and put down below to get nice and tall, just to create a little privacy area. And of course I showed the 9-bark in my last video. Gorgeous. I love this color. What a beautiful plant. Oh, there's my little neighbor Latchmay, a kitty. If I can zoom in on her. Nice little cat. She's not a bird killer, which is kind of cool. She likes to sit and look and watch, but I've never ever seen her go after a bird. Unlike some of the other cats. Oh, and this is my perennial helenium that got pruned, but I leave the branches on the ground for a few days in case any spiders want to escape. Another area that could use a bit of an edit now, maybe a freshening up. These logs and that are quite old. This was a log, and look at, it's completely deteriorated now, which is good. Lots of animals were probably eating in there and living in there as habitat. So this area is good. A bit of a wilder area around the hazelnut tree. And I love this pot. This came with us from the city a couple weeks ago. This is my pot. It was in storage with a friend. And then this is a strawberry arbutus in here. And so far, so good with the deer. It is not planted in the pot because I can still move the strawberry arbutus out. But once that pot is planted, it weighs about 300 pounds and it cannot be moved. So I'm just deciding whether or not that's going to be its spot. I think it will be. And I think all these rocks need to come out now and maybe bark mulch go down. They're a little bit rolly for my feet and I don't need to fall. So back here is just kind of a wild corner. This is rhododendrons in the spring and lots of color changes happening. The Chicago fire looks really nice back there. And then the rose, and yeah, so our property goes way back to almost to that green net, just beyond the green net. There's a marker in the ground, so that's my wild area. There's a few fall asters in there. Maybe I'll go down there and then film. Oh gosh, this could be tricky. I'm not sure if this pot should stay It's kind of a tight squeeze between the rock and the pot, but oh my gosh, look at that pot. It's beautiful. And this plant gets big. It'll be a nice blocker for privacy to the neighbor, which I really like that enclosed feeling of some of the English gardens. So this is, I'm right on the property line now, looking back from Anne's. I'm coming down here. It starts to really slope off. We're definitely on a hill. I'm falling. I want to show my fall asters. Look how pretty these are. Oh, and there's bee activity. So I'm not quite to the bottom of the property. So I'll show that another time when it's a little bit more tidied up. Oh, there's a fall aster in there too that's falling down. I should go in and prop that up. Oh my goodness, there's so much work. But it's a beautiful fall afternoon. And I think I'll end there with a bit of breeze, some bird song. And thank you for watching.